Learning of Bahadur Pasha's death, Mehmed cancels the campaign against the Hungarians and turns his full wrath toward Wallachia. After such a sharp pivot, we are likely to see the most ruthless and uncompromising version of the Sultan in the next episode, one entirely closed to dialogue. Vlad has no intention of hiding in his castle. Judging by his cold calculation of forces, he likely pre-planned this blow to lure the Ottomans onto his territory, where he has already prepared traps to exploit their arrival. Vlad's admission that he is ready to eliminate anyone after Bahadur, including his own brother, erases all moral boundaries. In the continuation, we should expect his most inhumane tactical decisions aimed specifically at breaking the enemy's psyche. The Akanja are boiling with a thirst for revenge and are ready to tear the enemy apart. However, this rage might backfire. Most likely, Vlad will use their impulsiveness to lure the lead detachments into the deep, unforgiving forests. Ali Bey's accusations against Shamil will not pass without consequence. A massive sense of guilt will likely push Shamil toward a desperate, perhaps even suicidal move in the upcoming clash, to atone for his perceived failure. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Mahmud Pasha openly and harshly backs Radu into a corner. After such direct threats, it is logical to expect that Mahmud will secretly assign spies to him in the next episode, looking for any excuse to bring formal charges. Radu's version of how exactly he found the chest with Bahadur's head sounds very shaky. This lie is a ticking time bomb that will explode as soon as the real details of that forest skirmish come to light in the next chapter. The message from Vlad is perfectly clear. He wants his brother back. In the heat of the campaign, Vlad will probably orchestrate a situation where Radu is faced with a direct choice: stab the Ottomans in the back or perish. Dracula's strategy is built on the idea that the Ottomans will reject Radu themselves due to mistrust. Therefore, it is logical to expect skillful provocations or planted letters from Vlad to finally destroy the camp's trust in his brother. Mehmed continues to protect Radu, remembering his past merits. However, this unwavering faith from the Sultan is about to collide with a harsh reality, and this specific disagreement could become the main dramatic rift within the Ottoman tent. The Sultan's order to keep Radu close looks like a protective measure, but in reality, it places a potential spy at the heart of command. This will likely only push Mahmud Pasha further toward paranoia, escalating internal tensions. Dragomir tasks Suleiman with holding the final line before the Sava. It seems this flank will turn out to be the weakest point for the Wallachian forces, as the prisoner clearly has no intention of loyally serving his tormentors. The provision problem is not just a background detail, but a clear hint that Mehmed's army will face starvation. This hunger will likely erode discipline faster than enemy blades, forcing the soldiers into a state of desperate unrest. The Sultan is confident he has solved the issue by buying up all the granaries along the route. But knowing the scorched earth tactic, there is little doubt. In the next episode, these granaries will be burned to the ground before the Ottomans arrive. Suleiman is crushed by memories and the guilt of betraying the throne for his feelings. Such a state of total despair usually precedes a breakdown. It is most logical to expect that he will try to wash away his shame with blood. Dragomir's mockery of Suleiman's feelings is a major tactical error. This personal, deep-seated hatred will likely drive the prisoner to strike at the Wallachians from within their own fortifications at the most critical and unexpected moment. Bayezid is visibly frightened by his father's harsh reaction. Out of fear of falling out of favor again, the prince will likely try to prove himself too zealously in the coming battles, which could disrupt the army's overall formation. Bayezid's mother is taking the political game into her own hands. While Mehmed is at war, a no less fierce and cunning struggle for influence will unfold in the harem and the capital, in case of an unforeseen outcome of the campaign. Zaganos Pasha's assessment sets the tone for the entire upcoming campaign. The Ottomans must fight a man who knows their tactics by heart. We should expect an exhausting game of wits, where Vlad strikes at the most vulnerable points. The phrase calling their enemy the devil himself psychologically prepares the viewer for Vlad's cruel methods. Most likely, we will soon witness mass terror aimed at breaking the spirit of the Janissaries through sheer horror and psychological warfare. Mehmed's farewell dinner with his wives is saturated with a heavy, grim foreboding. Such long scenes are rarely included without reason. It is a direct hint that the Sultan will suffer a heavy personal loss in the upcoming battles. Mehmed harshly cuts off his son's doubts and takes both on the campaign. This decision will inevitably cause Mustafa and Bayezid to clash directly on the battlefield, as the competition for their father's approval becomes more dangerous than enemy ambushes. Vlad motivates his soldiers with the image of the massive, encroaching Ottoman army. Judging by his attitude, he will avoid a direct confrontation until the last moment, banking instead on night raids and sabotage in the rear. Suleiman's patience snaps, and he lunges at his captor. This outburst is only the beginning. In the next episode, it is logical to expect him to organize a full-scale escape or sabotage, disrupting Dragomir's carefully laid plans. The Pasha's fears have come true. Vlad has scorched all the lands in the Ottomans' path. Faced with this tactic, Mehmed's army will lose its usual momentum, and every step forward will now be achieved with immense difficulty and sacrifice. Poisoned wells are a strike at the army's weakest point. Thirst and disease will trigger not only physical exhaustion, but also murmurs of dissent. The internal discipline of the army will undergo a brutal test of its very foundations. While the army suffers, the brothers view the crisis differently. Mustafa begins to listen to the disgruntled soldiers. This difference in approach will soon erupt into an open conflict for leadership among the commanders on the field. The cold justification of cruelty for higher goals shows that Vlad and Dragomir will stop at nothing. However, such orders might plant seeds of doubt among their own men, potentially creating a rift within the Wallachian ranks. During the council, the Pashas openly suggest the Sultan retreat and return to the capital. This scene shows how precarious the situation is. If Mehmed does not find a way out quickly, his authority among the viziers may begin to crack. Mehmed's emotional refusal to return after what he has seen proves that the war has become personal for him. He will not listen to the voice of cold reason, and this stubbornness might lead the army into an even more terrifying trap. The Janissaries complain directly to the prince about the unbearable hunger. The fact that they bypass their own commanders suggests a brewing mutiny. If the situation is not brought under strict control, a rebellion seems inevitable. Bayezid's speech about the Battle of Badr temporarily saves the situation and boosts morale. But beautiful words cannot replace water. In the next episode, the effect of this speech will likely fade, and tension will return with doubled force. Mahmud Pasha is absolutely certain that Radu leaked the information about the route. This growing obsession will soon force the vizier to act behind the Sultan's back, leading to a major internal scandal and a breakdown of protocol. The appearance of Chandarlu's ghost reveals the extreme degree of Mehmed's internal exhaustion. Heavy doubts are gnawing at him. Most likely, to drown out this voice, the Sultan will make the riskiest decision of the entire campaign. The realization that all the experienced Pashas want to turn back places Mehmed in a position of total isolation. In this state, he may sideline cautious advisors and trust only those ready to charge forward, regardless of the cost. The arrival of the Bosnians with provisions literally at the last second saves the Ottoman army from collapse. But knowing Vlad's omnipresent spy network, we can expect him to attempt to cut off these new supply lines immediately. Learning that the plan to exhaust the Ottomans with hunger has failed, Vlad is forced to change tactics. He will likely have to give the Ottomans a more open battle at the crossing, attempting to turn the Danube into a mass grave. The Akunja's refusal to take young Bayezid with them deals a painful blow to the prince's ego. Trying to prove his exceptional bravery, he will almost certainly involve himself in a dangerous venture alongside the main army. Suleiman finally shakes off the image of the broken prisoner. After such cold threats, it is logical to expect him to find a gap in the security and deliver a blow that will collapse the Wallachian rear at the sharpest moment. Ali Bey's decision to take young Alperin with him looks like a bitter passing of the torch. Given the approaching disaster, it is likely this young man will have to survive the slaughter to bring the heaviest news back to camp. Bayezid's harsh metaphor about the swaying tent pole is a subtle accusation of Mustafa's weakness in the face of the mutineers. After this talk, Mustafa will likely try to prove his strength to his father through an extremely reckless act. Mahmud's story about the old betrayal of Kara Ilyas's assistant is a very clear signal. Someone close, whom the Ottomans fully trust, may turn out to be Vlad's pawn at the decisive moment of the campaign, opening the gate. Mehmed abruptly silences Mahmud, refusing to hear more accusations against Radu. This order deprives the Sultan of maneuverability. Now, if real evidence appears, Mehmed may be completely blind to it until it is far too late to react. The open hatred of the common warriors in Akıncı toward Radu has reached its limit. In the bloody chaos of future battles, someone from his own side might very well try to eliminate the Wallachian prince, blaming it on a stray enemy arrow. The destroyed bridges across the Danube force the Ottomans to a halt. The army will have to build a crossing from scratch under the open sky. This prolonged process will likely become the primary, bloody target for Wallachian archers. The fact that Vlad managed to outmaneuver the experienced Akıncı at Nicopolis proves his spies are working flawlessly. The Ottomans are moving blindly, and every subsequent maneuver is already being anticipated and met with a deadly ambush. Old Ali Bey's detachment is caught in a tight circle. Given the catastrophic difference in forces, we likely face the heroic but inevitable death of the Akıncı leader, which will be a massive shock for the entire Ottoman camp. Vlad's true goal here is not just a local victory, but the emotional destruction of Mehmed through the death of his oldest comrades. This brutal tactic is designed to force the Sultan into making fatal mistakes while in a state of grief. Mehmed's order to hastily build bridges in multiple locations is an attempt to divide Vlad's forces. But at one of these makeshift points, a breakthrough is likely, forcing the Sultan to personally intervene to save the crossing. Mehmed's final shock upon learning about the burning Nicopolis sets a grim stage for the next episode. We should expect an immediate, furious surge across the Danube. The war is crossing a line where there will be no room for mercy.